Please help and support us by liking this video, subscribing to this channel. Never give up on your beautiful dreams. Even if you have nothing, your strong mind determination will surely make ways for you. This is the story of a young man who never gave up on his dream. In the heart of Lagos, where the yellow Danfo buses zip like busy bumblebees and the sun shines like a giant orange marble, lived a young man named Koffi. Koffi was 25, with a smile that could light up a room even though his pockets were as empty as a finished bowl of jollof rice. He lived in a tiny room painted turquoise, but he dreamed of something much bigger. Koffi wanted to build the most colorful playground in all of Nigeria. He didn't have money for bricks or steel, but he had something better: imagination. Every morning, Koffi sat by the roadside, fixing shoes with bright neon threads: pink, lime green, and electric blue. Why use boring brown, Koffi? His neighbors would ask, laughing. Because life is a rainbow, Koffi would chirp, waving a purple needle. He saved every single kobo he earned in shimmering tin can. He faced many no's from people who thought a playground was a silly dream for a poor cobbler. But Koffi just hummed a happy tune, knowing that even the tallest Iroko tree starts as a tiny seed in the earth. One afternoon, the sky over Lagos turned the color of a dusty chalkboard. A great storm marched in, bringing wind that whistled like a train. Whoosh! The rain came down in buckets, flooding the streets, and, worst of all, leaking into Koffi's tiny turquoise room. When the clouds finally parted, Koffi found his shimmering tin can gone, swept away by the rushing groundwater. He sat on his damp stool, feeling gray inside. He had nothing left but his neon threads and his needles. For a moment, the dream of the Sun City playground felt as far away as the moon. His stomach growled like a grumpy lion because he had no money for dinner. Maybe they were right. He whispered to a stray ginger cat. Maybe a cobbler should just stick to shoes. But then he looked at his hands. They were still strong. He looked at his neon threads. They still glowed like fallen stars. He realized that while the rain took his coins, it couldn't take his talent or his bravery. He wiped his eyes, stood up straight, and decided that if he couldn't buy materials, he would find them. The next day, Lagos felt like a giant treasure chest. Koffi didn't see trash, he saw possibilities. He went to the market and found discarded wooden crates. He went to the mechanic workshops and found old tires piled high like black donuts. "Can I have these?" Koffi asked, his eyes sparkling. The mechanics, seeing his excitement, laughed and said, "Take them, cobbler. They're just junk." Koffi dragged the tires and crates to a dusty, empty lot near the lagoon. He spent his evenings scrubbing the tires until they shone. Then, using his bright cobbler paints, he turned the tires into giant sunflowers, striped zebras, and polka dot ladybugs. He sanded the wooden crates until they were smooth as silk and painted them the colors of tropical fruits: mango orange, watermelon red, and pineapple yellow. Children began to gather around the fence, their eyes wide. "What are you making, Koffi?" they whispered. "I'm making a place where your feet can dance," he replied. He worked until his muscles ached, but every time he saw a splash of color against the dusty ground, his heart did a little somersault of joy. Word spread through the city about the Color Man, building a kingdom out of nothing. One morning, a lady named Mrs. Adissa arrived with a bundle of old, vibrant Ankara fabrics. "Use these for shade, Koffi," she said with a wink. Then, the carpenter from down the street brought his shiny silver hammer and some leftover nails. Even the Danfo drivers stopped their yellow buses to drop off broken mirrors that Koffi used to create sparkle walls that caught the sunlight. Koffi wasn't alone anymore. The challenges that once felt like giant mountains now felt like small pebbles he could hop over. They worked together under the sapphire sky. Koffi sewed the Ankara fabrics into giant, fluttering kites to hang above the lot. He turned the tires into swings and the crates into a castle with a secret slide. The empty, dusty lot was transforming into a kaleidoscope of happiness. Koffi realized that because he didn't give up when he was alone, he had inspired a whole community to dream with him. The nothing he started with had turned into a something that belonged to everyone. Finally, the big day arrived. The Sun City Playground was finished. It was the brightest spot in all of Nigeria. There were tire swings painted like tigers, a wooden castle with a turquoise roof, and Ankara ribbons dancing in the breeze. The governor even came, wearing a robe as purple as a grape. He looked at the playground and then at Koffi, who was wearing his best shirt, neatly patched with neon thread. "You had no gold, yet you built a golden kingdom," the governor said, amazed. Koffi smiled, and this time his smile was bigger than the sun. He didn't have a fancy degree or a mountain of money, but he had persistence. As the children rushed in, laughing and screaming with delight, the air filled with the sounds of joy. Koffi sat on a bright orange crate, watching the colors swirl around him. He proved that even if you start with nothing, your dreams can take you anywhere if you just keep sewing, keep painting, and refuse to let the gray clouds win. Koffi, the 25-year-old cobbler, was now the king of color, and his dream would shine forever. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned. Please like and subscribe.